Hey everyone, it's Michael and
Ruben
and Wade from Bullion Now, bullionnow.com.au, bringing you Friday as per usual, our favourite day of the week. So we've got an interesting program today. A few technical hitches. Young Matt wasn't able to join us. He's in Melbourne at the moment, and unfortunately, much like some of our kangaroos that got lost that time, somewhere between here and Melbourne across the Nullarbor there, the signal's been interrupted, so we haven't been able to bring Matt in as we normally would, but that's all good. We've got Ruben here to give us all the technical background. We've got Wade to give us a whole new view on the Perth Mint.
Yes, indeed. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, so Wade is, we'll talk a bit more about what Wade's position is at the Perth Mint, but obviously need to kick off with the difference in surroundings, the elephant in the room. We are currently sitting in the Sovereign Room in the Perth Mint, and it's an incredible room. You've got this, there's actually a couple of bookcases around here, but in the minutes when Ruben was setting up, I was glancing through them, and there's mint reports from 1897 in here, and I'd love to be let loose in this room for a while, to be honest, and read through some of these reports and books. It's an amazing room, which links into it. I don't know if you've ever been to the Perth Mint, and if you haven't, I strongly encourage you to go there, because the history for gold in Australia and stacking and bullion in Australia, a lot of it comes out of here, and this building has been here 125 years now.
Yeah, all but.
And Ruben and I were incredibly lucky to be given a guided tour, and you'll see a video on it in the not too distant future, but a guided tour through the coin minting operation around here. And it's a bit of a, you duck and weave a little bit through it, but there's some new parts that you're walking through, and then you'll cross through a door into a corridor, and all of a sudden you're in this area that's very obviously 100 plus years old, and it's just an amazing place to be. So we count ourselves very privileged to have spent the last few days over here with the Perth Mint. It's been absolutely amazing.
Great, I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So Wade, who are you?
Okay, I'm senior designer for the Perth Mint, so I've been working here for just over 20 years now.
Wow.
So
should know what you're doing by now.
Yeah, well, you'd think so, but we take our time. We learn as we go. So when I started way back when, there was 3 designers, including myself. Now there's 7 to 8 designers working for the Mint. Mind you, we were doing about 100 designs a year between us then, and now we're doing 500 so designs between us.
That's huge.
Plus all the other stuff that we do. So we design coins, obviously. The short term is I draw lots of pretty pictures and have a great time doing it. But also, once the coin's designed, then we've got the packaging to do and have to deal with any sort of promotion stuff that might pop up that urgently needs to be done.
This is very much not a normal career choice.
No, not at all.
What got you into this?
So, all right, long story. I was always keen on drawing pictures and illustrating and colouring in and all that, and sculpting and all that sort of stuff. And I always wanted it to be a hobby, but didn't want to do it as a job until I was way too old. 25, I think. I finally went, you know what, I'm going to go and study design and illustration.
Yep.
And got into it that way. The design team, we're all either have a degree in fine arts or Bachelor of Arts, or we're advanced diploma in design or illustration and stuff like that. So we all need to be able to draw and illustrate correctly, but we also need to know how to typeset and typography and packaging and all this sort of stuff. It's not a niche, well, not just a drawing job. That being said, having to work on coin designs, it's a vastly different rule set to drawing. So when we're, if you're designing a box, you've got a good frame to work with, and you know that the stuff that's not quite important you throw off into the corner of the design. There's no corners in a circle coin, so it all has to fit in a nice circle, and that makes it difficult, makes it a challenge.
Does it change it much when you go for like the very high relief where you're going with the concave?
Oh yeah,
designs?
See, that was sort of like when I started, we weren't doing many high relief coins. That was sort of instigated as I was going through. So that was a bit of a development in skill set as well, having to work out what sort of relief heights we can play with, where the highest point had to be and where we had to have the most form and what we couldn't do as far as form for the high reliefs, for example. Antique coins, great, because there's so much detail and you can just barely touch the design and it's going to show up, whereas on a struck coin doesn't necessarily show up as well, and they have issues as far as masking for dye polishing and stuff, and I'm not sure whether you've had a look at where the dye polishing is and stuff like that.
Very lucky to get that.
Because, that's another story entirely. One thing I do love about designing coins is my initials are on the coins that I design. And so it's...
There's no ego involved here.
Oh, absolutely. and like, if I was designing a web page, it's got a 6 month, year sort of lifespan. Designing a poster, again, 3 months. My great-great-grandkids can look at a coin I've designed. It's got my initials on it. The certificate says I designed it. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool to me.
I love it.
Not necessarily the other designers, but for me, definitely that's a good thing.
Have you got one of every coin that you've designed?
No, can't afford it. Yeah. And no, we don't get free samples.
I would have thought that. I'll talk to Neil and see what we can tee up.
Yeah, good luck with that. Especially when you're working on a 1 kilo gold coin or the icons, what were they called? The Kimberley Sunrise Masterclass set with diamonds. Yeah, that's not good.
I don't know if you had part of it, but the ones they do, they're almost three-dimensional with the jewel encrusted.
Oh yeah, the pave pieces.
They are.
Yeah,
next level.
They're amazing. It's a lot of work going into those ones.
Yeah.
And liaising with the jeweler who sets those parts, working out that sort of side of where it's going to fit, how it's going to attach to the coin, that sort of stuff.
We've got a question through live of what is your favourite design of yours? That might be quite a question.
So, series that I've worked on, the Anzac 100th anniversary series, that was really good, really important, like pivotal and impressionable on me. So, gold high relief 1 ounce for 2014 was the landing of Gallipoli, or the storming of Gallipoli. That was one of my favourite designs.
Is that because of the emotion behind it, or is that because the design popped for you, or both?
Yeah, a bit of both. The design really worked. But the history behind it, and like when we're designing a coin, we don't just, as I've said before, draw a pretty picture. We have to do a ton of research to make sure it's just right. Especially with military stuff, you have, because you would know with collectors, the person that's collecting that coin knows everything about that subject. So if you're drawing a soldier charging up Gallipoli, and you've got the wrong rifle,
that's right.
The rifle from 6 months later, let alone that day, they'll let us know, and we don't want to be.
And you'll cop a hiding for it.
It's...
But then the coin becomes an error coin, and now it's worth twice what it was.
Yeah, but we don't want to do that. We want to get it right, just right all the time, sort of thing. Yeah.
I've got to ask, and I haven't been watching the chat, so I do apologise, but somebody's going to nail me if I don't ask you. Are you involved with the Kookaburra design at all?
Not this year, no.
A couple of years ago?
Yeah, I've done a couple of.
Tell me the logic behind the Kookaburra on a bird bath.
That was Tash's design. I don't know. Look, they're a kingfisher sort of breed of birds. So they're sitting in water.
We're pushing it there. And look, it's become a bit of a standing joke. I don't know if you guys have seen it. It's become a bit of a standing joke in Bullion Now, because I grew up in the bush.
Yep.
I'm a bush pig from way back. And I made a comment about when I first saw it about, I've never seen, ever in my life, living in the bush, ever seen a Kookaburra sit on a bird bath.
Right.
And I made this comment, and then we set this competition, you know, because I can't remember who was
someone
with me.
photograph one?
Yeah, want a
Okay,
photo.
yeah.
And I think it was like 2 or 3 years
Yeah.
before we actually got a real
Well,
photo.
Okay.
There was a few photoshopped ones going around, but a real photo of a kookaburra on a bird bar.
Yeah.
So I've always wondered what was the thought process, because I would argue it's not. You know, it's almost the equivalent for me of running up. Oh no, I don't want to be that crass. But you know, I would call that a technical inaccuracy.
Yeah. So again, we do have these encounters. Sometimes it's a bit of artistic license and trying to get something that's. Look, we've been doing kookaburras, 20-something years now?
That's right.
There's only so many poses you can put a kookaburra in, and especially when each kookaburra that we release, that's after doing 20 or 30 different concepts that didn't go ahead. So there's that many poses that we just haven't gone with. And so it is, how can we make it creative? How can we make it look interesting? What works with when we throw colour onto it, what works with the high relief, what works antiquing, that sort of side of things. So look, a bird bath, I freely admit, I don't think I've ever seen. Kookaburras aren't even native to WA, so
Aren't they really?
No,
I didn't know that.
They've
Why on earth did you guys start a kookaburra series then?
they're an Australian bird, but they're not native to WA. They've come across. Same as koalas aren't really, I don't think, native to WA.
Oh, there you go. I didn't know that
either. Yeah. So yeah, it's not not native to WA. We just draw these kookaburra. And we've done platypus coins in the past. They're certainly not in WA.
I never knew this.
Yeah.
How long have I lived in Australia for? 50-some years. I didn't know.
Yeah.
I just thought they were everywhere.
No. Well, they are in WA, but they've come across.
Yeah.
Emigrated, or however you want to put it, transferred across.
There you go. You're up for another couple of questions?
Yeah, go for it, mate.
Yeah, bring it.
Has Perth ever had thoughts on changing the Kangaroo silver bullion design?
Yeah.
I worked on that.
Well, as Matt would say if he was here, it's an award-winning design.
It's done really well. It's for the single strike process of getting it through and the profit and loss and all that. Neil will cover that more than I would, but it was a challenge to get it to work, to get it during the time, like when it was released, how to get the finishes on it so that it could go through the presses that well. I don't know whether we'll change it. I don't know whether it's a challenge that we want to take on, certainly at this stage when we're so busy anyway. I freely would, I'd love to give it a go, love to take that challenge on and see, but we'll see. I don't know. I'd love to, like I said, but yeah.
If people haven't seen it, we were actually down there today watching them produce the Kangaroo, and it's an amazing process in that it is completely fully automated. This press just brings in this coin. They're fed straight in. There's no human input into this. There's one person supervising it, but this thing does everything from picking up the blank all the way through to it being put into the tube in the monster box. All of that is all fully automated, and so you'd need a very crisp design to be able to just I don't know if it's one a second or one every second and a half or something like that, but it's just pounding away on this thing all day.
So when we had to change the effigy this year it was like, well, let's see how this goes, because the size of the king's effigy compared to the queen's effigy is different, and the relief height's slightly different. So it was like, well, let's see how it goes, how it hits, how it comes out. We're happy with it, obviously. Yeah. But that was the first time we've ever actually changed it since besides the year date, but changed it since the start of it. So we'll see. To
have something that, the system is obviously under stress because it's a fairly heavy stamp there. But admittedly, we were only there 10 or 15 minutes watching this thing, but it just ran. It was seamless.
Yeah,
it wasn't.
Absolutely.
No one was. Watching it like a hawk or anything like that because they were expecting it to, shudder to a grinding halt any second.
No, it's been running.
And it was just producing these things.
Yep.
And I know from a from like a seller's perspective,
Yep.
you know, I see thousands of these every week.
Yep.
And it's very, I actually can't think of one. I'm sure there's someone will say I'm wrong, but I don't tend to see any
Variants.
any problems with them as a rule. Like not from a striking perspective, there might be, you know, problem with cloudiness or something like that we get over time. But from a strike perspective, there is no problem, and there is no. I'm sounding disingenuous by saying this, but there's no quality control in that. You know, every other coin that we've been around and seen being made, you know, like each coin is individually inspected several times.
Yeah.
Whereas this thing is just punched out, put into a tube, put into a monster box, sealed, and shipped off to Bullion Now. You know, like it's just, it's amazing. And to have a design, and I think that's one of the appreciations I got going, like walking around today, was those designs that we love but almost take for granted. It's not just the intricacies of the design, it's actually being able to produce that design crisply every time on a machine. And it's...
So the other side of the whole, the 1 ounce silver coin, Kangaroo, it's based off the Devlin original design. So that's another reason we might not ever change it, because it's the traditional Australian, the Perth Mint gold Kangaroo sort of thing. So I love to give it a crack, but I don't know whether we would.
There's a couple of design suggestions that have been coming through.
Oh, bring them on, come on.
Ones that have been highly requested for a while is a magpie swooping.
Yeah, okay, yep.
You have magpies over here?
Absolutely we do, and yes, we do get them swooping. For an Australian market, it'd definitely go well. International market, probably not, because what we call a magpie is not what the Europeans call a magpie. And same with like our crows are not the same as what crows and ravens and all that sort of stuff. But I'd love to do it. Yeah.
And another one that Goat, one of our viewers, has been asking for a while, is a 6-bar series for the 6 Noongar seasons, which is the seasons,
absolutely.
Ideally with art done by Daryl Bellotti.
Okay, so Daryl's one of the designers that's been here in the past. He's working elsewhere at the moment. Because he did the Dreaming series and stuff like that. He was a great team member. We've looked into doing the 6 seasons from the Noongar Nation, but then again, that's a WA coin, so it's not to do with the mobs in the eastern states and stuff like that, where their weather cycles and stuff like that might be different, and they definitely call them different names than we would, or than the Wodjup people would call it. Yeah,
I guess there's, because that style of art is very popular these days. So, but it would be a challenge ticking all the boxes, I would have thought, on that one.
So I worked in partnership, like getting the Marley Swan and the...
That was beautiful, that one.
Yeah, and the Kangaroo for last year done, and working in conjunction with the original designer for that, just to get his design to work on a coin sort of stuff. And there's another one coming out, and we're looking into the future to do more. But that's really... I can't do the design. I'm not Aboriginal. I'm not. It's a team effort, a partnership to get those sorts of things done, and we don't want to tread on anyone's toes or make any sort of
being culturally sensitive.
Yeah. Well, there's like a galah, a goanna, or a cassowary.
Okay. So we've done a galah. I think with young collectors, like base metal coins many years ago. Cassowary, I don't know whether we've done, but we sort of looked at it. If we haven't done it, we've done concepts for it. There's like files of concepts that we haven't touched yet, like we've drawn but haven't used yet, sort of stuff. And what was the other one? Sorry, galah, cassowary.
There was a goanna.
Goanna, as in the blue tongue, or the racehorse goanna. What sort of goanna? Because we've done a few of them. And the frill necks we've
also
definitely
drop
done.
bear is coming up.
Oh yeah, obviously. Drop bear and hoop snake and yeah, why not? Yeah. We have, it was a concept that I was working on 15 plus years ago for Australian inventions and Australian humour sort of stuff like that, and we were talking about like the drop bear and stuff at that sort of stage. But again, it's a very niche market. If it's not going to sell internationally, it makes it very difficult.
We suggested to Neil that you do a roadkill series, but he wasn't even faintly amused by that. Really? Come on! That's right. I thought it was a great idea.
Yeah.
No. So we're not going to let you go until you've talked about the effigy.
Okay, effigy.
Because you were pretty much like point person on that, weren't you, for the Mint?
Yeah. So being lead designer for the last 10, 12 years, was right in the middle of it when the Queen passed. And
it was smooth and easy, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah. Sorry. 5 years before she passed, we were like, easy, 5 years, probably more. What are we going to do when the Queen passes? What do we do with the effigy? What's going to happen? And we just didn't know. And then, obviously, she got old, she passed. And then it was like, well, what are we going to do now? It's not legal tender, and we can't make up an effigy because that's treason, and to put someone else's effigy on legal tender and stuff like that. So it was a lot of toing and froing and getting information from the palace and from Governor General and from the government. What are we doing? It's finally resolved. Hopefully it lasts for a good long while, but I'm not holding my breath.
You're hoping for another 70 years, are you?
That being said, I think we know what we're going to be doing. Like, we have a plan of attack sort of thing.
Not wishing ill on anyone, if it happens in the next couple of years, you'll be okay. But if it happens in 20 years' time, that corporate history won't be there anymore, I'll almost guarantee it.
Yeah, I don't think I'll be here in 20 years. It's a long time in the I don't know. Look, it was a challenge. We've gotten through it. It has affected scheduling and release dates and stuff like that, which means coins that we're designing have been put on hold and changes our workloads and stuff. But,
Is that because there was quite a while, from a retailer's perspective, there was a period there where I'm not going to say there was no releases, but there was very limited releases.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
there was obviously a backlog there.
Yeah.
Has that backlog mostly cleared now, or are you still dealing with
give
it?
Give it next 6 to 12 months, we'll be clear of it. Like we did discuss earlier, designers, we're currently working on coins now for 2 years from now, sort of thing. It takes that long to go through the process of getting approvals and getting the dies made and getting samples approved and stuff to get it to release date. So it takes that long to turn around the product.
So this is an unfair question. Is it fair to say that all your 2025 designs are tucked away?
25?
Yeah.
No. There are still a couple that we're working on.
But a lot of them are tucked away already. Like, as far as the design team is concerned, that one's ticked off.
Lunars, yes, definitely. The Kangaroo, Kookaburra, Koala, just about, done.
Yeah, wow.
But various numismatics and specialised bullion products and stuff like that, we're still working on them. We're trying to get them done so we can get ahead, but it just, these things happen. It's
So is there a design or a series that you all kind of scramble over to? I want to be.
I allocate projects to the team based on workloads and abilities. And
So do you take bribes?
No, I don't.
Encouragements?
No. As far as we all work on the kangaroos, cookers, koala concepts because we need that much of a pool to start pulling from and stuff like that. Lunas is again another one where we sort of all have a bit of a play and see which direction we want to go, whose designs.
Yep.
But specific other projects I'll allocate to a designer. Chinese New Year, it'll go to designer A. Year of the next dragon coin, because there's so many dragon coins, just get allocated to various people. Sorry, it's a bit of a peeve of mine. I'm just so overdrawing dragons. It's
only once every 12 years.
No, it's not.
Yeah, I suppose it's not, because you
It's
have
rectangular.
Yeah.
Rectangular. So I've done the last 2 rectangular dragons, but there's different customers and stuff, custom minting and projects and stuff like that, where we're doing dragons or Asian lunar or mythical creatures, and stuff like that. So yeah, we're always doing dragons. Yeah, always doing dragons. It's all right.
I love it. We got some more questions, mate?
There's a couple I'm not sure if you're going to be able to answer, but I'll at least ask them. Feel free to say no if you can't talk about them. But people are wanting to know if the Great Southern Land series will continue.
Yes, it will. Yep.
Okay.
Yep, we're definitely working on those.
Will we have an Australian designed eagle? So the Wedgetail, obviously designed by John McCanty. Would an Australian ever take a crack at a series like that, or even do a separate one?
So traditionally, yeah, that's been done by John McCanty, and it's been pitched that way, that it is done by John McCanty. So we're 9 in, and we're working on waiting for artwork for the 25 version of that. Look, I'd give it a go. I'd love to have a go at that, and as the design team would love to work on wedge-tailed eagle and stuff like that. It's a very prestigious project. It does go very well. It's a challenge because I'm the one that puts those together. Like, senior designer takes on all those sort of projects that other people have illustrated, and then I get to make work on a coin sort of stuff.
Yep.
I've been working on those since they started, and they're a challenge every year just to get it done and get it right and stuff. But yeah.
There's kudos on last year's rectangular silver dragon. It was a
Thank you. That's one that, because we did the bullion design, and we have in the past done proof, but we just ran out of time because of the effigy issues and stuff like that. We couldn't produce the proof. So I'd done all the proof artwork, done all the packaging, everything. It just disappeared because we couldn't use it. I'm working on the next one now. So that'll come out soon.
And there's the hope that the new Lunar Dragon Bar will continue as the Lunar series.
Yeah, that's the plan. Yep.
That's exciting.
Yeah, that is exciting, actually. You brought in some props.
I did.
What have you got for us?
So, I brought in some of my coins that I own because I can't afford to buy all of my coins. I want to live. So I've brought in. This is not my first design, but pretty early on, and that's the first Antarctic coin series. So we're talking about Mawson Station. That was my first delve into using colour on a coin and stuff like that. When I started, when we were working,
Just tilted, or
So when we started and when I was working on designing coins, we were back to old school. We were drawing on pencil and paper and using paints and inks and stuff like that to get the colour. And then we'd scan it, then we'd throw it on the computer. Whereas these days, we're all digitally illustrating onto a computer. Not saying that, it's just magic and the computer does it all. We actually sit and draw and spend hours and hours and hours drawing illustrations and stuff like that. So I brought that Antarctic coin in because that's not my first, but it was pretty early on.
This would have been pad printed, wouldn't it?
Yes, definitely. So that was pad printed, as would these actually. But then, so my first coin that I did was a coin for the Asian market, and it was Year of the Monkey gold coin, Fulu Shu gold coin. And my first son, was a Year of the Monkey, so I had to get that one. And
You sound like so many of our customers and how they kick off.
so that's one of the anniversary of World War One coins. Is that? I don't know whether that's in.
Yeah, I remember the series.
You're gonna
Clear
get
off
it.
the roofs. Do you want to take it forward?
You can take. So yes, that's a change that happened in the processing, where the colour used to be done by pad printing, and that restricted how we could put design on coin, because the colour couldn't go to the edge, and you couldn't put colour on high relief, for example, at that stage with pad printing, just because the pads couldn't wrap around properly. Whereas now with the digital printing that we run, high relief, not a problem. Going over the edge, not a problem. Not that we do. I don't think we've ever done one colour onto the rim, but can be done. Other processes, laser engraving, we do now, which enables more contrasting finishes and more detail in the finishing, where hand finishing can get a better proof mirror finish on the table. It's still very difficult to work around fine details.
We actually saw the printing going on today,
Yep.
and I was amazed at how quickly it's done.
Yep.
But the accuracy that's required setting up the coins in the, I don't know what the holder's
Yeah,
called,
yeah,
but
yeah.
the holder. It was all done under magnification and the whole lot.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. Yeah.
that was fascinating to watch.
Yeah,
Good stuff.
Yeah, that was way back when, the first time I went into production, and it was like, oh my God, check this out. And it was really like an eye-opener walking down the hallways, and you're seeing the racks of coins and racks of silver and racks of gold, and it's like, wow, it's so interesting, like so different from anywhere else that you and work 10 kilo silver coin when that started. That was amazing. The 10 kilo gold coin, because we had them up in the office when they were starting those, and it's like, wow.
But you've stopped making those now.
Take too long. Look, Neil will give you all that information. That's outside my parameters, but yeah.
No, it was. We had the 10 kilo snake in gold. That was something else.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
Are you able to talk about the change of font that we've seen? I think most of them, like the things like the Kookaburra, the koala, that kind of.
So that was my design, actually, working on all that layout. After 20-something years of the evolution between the gold nugget coins to the gold kangaroo coins and all that sort of stuff, we decided we wanted to change it up. We've done it with the Lunas from Series 1, Series 2, Series 3 of Lunas. We decided we wanted something different, and it was a whole major process of going through how can we set them up so that they work, so that they can translate year after year, working a different design using the same layout. We pushed the K, because it's Kookaburra, Kangaroo, Koala, into the design, so it sort of works as a set piece instead of just standing alone for individual coins. It was the process that we wanted to go with, and
I have to say, when it first came out, I remember seeing it for the first time. I was in a shop, and I went, because I'm not big on change. I'm not sure about that, but I've got to say, like a very fine mould, it's grown on me, and I actually really like it.
So that was one of the processes that I was running with, and then the whole packaging for that, I organised that as well. So.
I like the lunar packaging that you've got,
where
you actually make a
the story,
not a mosaic, a story with the packaging. I thought that was genius.
That was Ing, who designed the lunar mouse, and she did the dragon this year. 'tis this year, isn't it? Sorry.
Yeah. It's still this year, mate.
Like I said, working 2 years in advance, I can never remember the lunar year. Yeah, that was her plan right from that point. Let's tell the story. Let's put it in so that it runs like a mosaic, like we did with this sort of
that's
stuff.
right. I mean, Rubes, I remember this series very well. Actually, I really loved this series actually when it came out. My kids did as well.
Yeah.
Am I holding it right, or are you going to take it off me? Okay.
Yeah.
So, well, you're basically telling
Yeah.
you're getting two for the price of one. You get an incredible coin, but you also get this
Panoramic.
panoramic kind of scenery with it. And I think, like I said, I think it's a stroke of genius, particularly with the Lunar series, because it does tell a story.
Absolutely, it tells a story. Yeah, yeah.
So
who came first and what the reason why each of the characters followed that order. Yeah.
So I'm enjoying putting that together.
Good. Yeah. So we were looking at packaging for Dragon and packaging for the horse and stuff like that for next year and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So they all tie in together beautifully.
Yeah. So you're the only one that I know that can go, oh no, it's the horse in 2026. And
Yeah. Is it? Yeah.
the rest of us go, hang on, what's next year again? Oh, that's right, it's a snake next year.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So it's most live streams, there's always one question about what's next year's again? Who remembers?
Yeah.
So we're a bit slack on that.
I can never remember what it is now because
Because you're working so far
we
ahead.
designed it way back when.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Are there any, obviously you know the designs that are all coming up.
Yep.
Is there any you're allowed to talk about?
I can talk about a coin that's coming out on Tuesday. That's the Bon Scott coin, which should come out. Well, I think it looks good. It was an interesting design to work on. Sourcing images from the style guide supplied by the estate and stuff like that, and having to deal with what the logos and the artworks and stuff and what we can and can't use.
Because that's part of a series, isn't it? That one's the first coin in a series.
Yeah.
But it's not an Australian. I was talking to Neil about this. It's not actually an Australian series, is it?
No,
it's a music, Legends of Rock series.
So Bon Scott was always going to be first, but there were others that were looking at it at the time, and to be Australian legal. No, it's not Australian legal tender anyway, so that's fine.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
We wanted to follow a series, and it was going to be called The Greats, or it was going to be called Musical Legends, or it was going to be called this, because we had a plan going forward what it was, but then we sort of cut it back because we didn't want to have to chop and change for future estates and stuff like that that go, no, we're not going to go with it because we don't like the Greats or we don't like Musical Legends. So they're individual coins, but they follow a series sort of stuff. Yeah.
How difficult is it to get, this may not be your area, how difficult is it to get the approvals to use something like Bon Scott or?
Not my speciality, but I've been involved because working on the design, and so we have a few members of the team that do chase licenses through varying agencies and stuff that hold licenses for multiple different things.
Yep.
So that's it's a process chasing getting approvals and stuff like that. It always makes the process a lot longer, getting allowing for approvals and stuff like that. Look,
do they have much input in the design? Or
they get the final yay or nay, for sure.
Okay.
But like they supply a style guide and we can access some estate some licenses will go for
Fill
it.
Your boots.
Whereas others will go, no, you have to have that design and you can use that logo with that design and stuff, which becomes more of a challenge. But hey, they work. Worked on the Star Trek, and we worked on Doctor Who in partnership with New Zealand Mint, and we've worked on so many. Back to the Future, Looney Tunes, Warner Brothers. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think Bon Scott, particularly from an Australian perspective, and if you've got hair my colour, it's going to be a winner.
It's Fremantle. It's
even more so, I suppose. Just down the road here, really, isn't it? Yeah.
So,
we got more questions coming through.
Queries about a dragon and koi gold bullion.
Yes, it'll come out, I believe, very soon.
Questions about the double Pixiu and that series.
Pixiu.
Whatever happened to that?
The double Pixiu.
Because it just evaporated.
So that was part of a series, wasn't it?
It was. So you did the so you did the silver one year, and then the same design in the gold the next year, and then you changed the silver design the year after that, and then somewhere during COVID it just disappeared.
So A, it was COVID, and B, it was scheduling to do with Queen's passing and effigies and all that sort of stuff. A lot of projects just got dropped.
Will it ever come back?
I can't guarantee it, but I think so.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I thought your answer would be probably not.
No, I think so.
Because it was always we found it always a popular production.
Good. Yeah. I'll talk to the designer. She'll be happy to know that.
There were some of the well, I can't say the best looking coins because I've had so many best looking coins come through, but it was certainly right up there, and it was certainly well received by everyone. So
we like design wise, it was a challenge, especially because as a European don't necessarily understand the connotations and the importance of Pixiu and stuff like that. So it was a bit of a challenge to get approvals in-house, let alone to get it, the client approving it and stuff like that. Like I said, I'm over dragons, and that's one of those sorts of things.
Fair enough.
Dragon and Phoenix, and Dragon and Koi, and Dragon and Pixiu, and Dragon and Double Dragon and Phoenix, and etc., and on it goes. So yeah.
We've also seen a lot of love lately for a lot of the designs you're bringing out in larger planchets, so in 10 ounces, just to see some of the detail you're actually putting into those to actually be able to look in and see what
the larger sizes, yes, definitely Kookaburra and the Lunas and stuff like that. It's always one of those sort of management sort of decisions on, or sales decisions on, what sizes are we going to release this coin in. Can we fit it in production schedule? Can it? Is it going to be cost effective? Is it? Look, when we design a coin, and that's a challenge for designing a coin, is what size is it going on?
Well, I was going to ask, does it change your mindset? Does it change your design technique if you know this coin is going to be produced in 1 ounce, 10 ounce, kilo planchet sizes? Than if you know, well, this is only a 1 ounce, or this is only a 1 kilo, or a...
Yes, definitely. If it's multiple different sizes, it's going to be a challenge to design. Like the Dragon and Koi that was mentioned earlier, that was a challenge because it was a 1 ounce silver and a gold high relief, and what works on one metal and one size doesn't necessarily work on other sizes and stuff like that. And when we're doing a design and it's just a theme like battles, I don't know. And if we don't know what size it is, and we're designing it for, we'll just design it for a 1 ounce silver. But then if it goes to a 1/4 ounce gold, that's it. It's not going to work properly, and you're going to have to start culling bits out and simplifying it and stuff like that. So
that must make the Lunar series difficult, because you're going from
absolutely,
like in the gold, the 1/20th through to
kilo gold, 10 ounce gold,
10 ounce. We certainly go to the 10 ounce. I don't think they do the kilo anymore, do they?
No.
And then even in the silver, you're going from a 1/2 ounce size coin through to theoretically a 10 kilo size coin.
It's definitely a challenge, and that's where like the antique works, that you can do that fine detail and you can see it on the antique, but you can't necessarily see that detail on a proof or a numismatic or a bullion coin. But you know, like the designers, the team that are there now have been, well, me at 21 years, and to Sean, who's our most recent designer, who's been there for 3 or 4 years now.
Yeah.
They all know what they're doing. They know, like, I can hand off a job and I know that they're going to work it right all the way through. So
yeah, we've talked to Lucas a couple of times,
Yeah.
and he's, you get a sense of, and I've talked to a few of the designers from Perth, and you get a level of confidence, not arrogance, but confidence that I can do this. I know what I'm doing. I know what works. I know what doesn't. I know I can try a few things within that.
Yeah.
And
look, we're always trying to push those boundaries. It's a bit of a give and take with production as far as, all right, what can we do? What can't we do? Why can't we do that? Do we have time to try it? Do we have? What if we tried it this way instead of this way? Sort of thing. It's a good correspondence and teamwork between the design team, the sales team, and production as far as what goes and what can't go and stuff like that. Yeah.
So you've got I'm assuming it's plaster,
Yes.
a plaster mould there. So
Yep.
tell me about that.
So
What's that for?
So you mentioned that we're about 125 years old.
Yes.
So this is
Next month or the month after, something like that. I think it puts
June. I
over.
think it is. Yes.
Yeah.
June 20th.
Careful because
I saw the water there.
Water there.
So this is the plaster for the coins that we'll be releasing for. And has any been? We have
the
released
bullion
some.
one,
Yeah.
gold, silver, and platinum one has been released
Yeah.
because we've got it in the shop. I love it.
Yes, it is a magnificent design. So this. Have I got it straight? It's straight enough.
Straight-ish.
It's beautiful. It was styled based off like the coat of arms to give that. It's got the same sort of banner and the kangaroo and kangaroo in the design, but it's also obviously the kangaroo kookaburra koala that we had we're well renowned for. It's a magnificent design. The coloured versions are looking good. There's plenty to come.
Why do you produce it in plaster?
Okay, traditionally that's always how it's always been done. So I'll, as senior designer, based on the release schedule, design, whether it's going to be proof or bullion or something like that, I'll decide whether it gets a plaster done. A plaster traditionally has better form, better, looks more natural, more realistic, works better on animals and people. That, like if it's a ship coin, for example, we won't do it that way. We'll do it electronic dye. But traditionally, it's always been plasters.
So what stage is this? So the design's been done. You've then cast it into plaster for what reason?
To get the form. So when we design a coin, it's a drawing on a piece of paper or it's a drawing on a screen.
Yeah, electronically.
Yeah. And we'll put shading in it and stuff like that to work. But it doesn't necessarily translate downstairs when they map it out for engraving.
So this is, let's look what it looks like, what we think it's going to look like on a coin face.
So we have a member of the team, or we hire him in to sculpt plasters, and he sculpts all the kangaroo, kookaburra, koala coins, all these sorts of projects. Obviously, he doesn't do the wedgetails because they're sculpted by McCanty. So we have plasters for all of his ones as well, sort of stuff. Yeah.
So then you take, what do you do with the plaster when you've finished it? You've looked at it, you think, okay, this is going to work.
Yep. So we're
Now
happy with it. We're happy with the plaster. It matches the design. It's good to go. We check with the project manager, and if needs be a client, we'll send photos to them, and then we'll send it downstairs to production, and production will electronically map it or through. Well, now it's a laser will laser map it, which is really precise and exact, whereas in the past it was done by a mechanical thing which would scale it down from one size down smaller and smaller and smaller till it was the right size.
Yep.
And then they will make an electronic die and send that up to us to review and make sure they haven't missed text. Because one thing about the plaster, there's no text on it, so anything that's going to be written on it will have to be added electronically. And then they'll make a die, and that's a sample of a master tool die which is nice and light. But
yeah, bit of weight in it.
Yep.
I don't know, Rubes, do you need to take that or?
All good.
We actually saw these being
Pressed.
well, not pressed, but
engraving.
Yeah, like kind of. We saw them electronically.
Yep.
Where one of the guys was tidying up the detail.
Yep. Yep.
And then we saw the one of the other guys actually not repairing, like fine tuning it.
Yeah.
You know, like either taking out scratches or whatever, or even adding them in. He was telling you, which I never thought of. I thought you'd be just kind of polishing off the face.
Well, because when they press it, can take off some of the texture and stuff, and they have to put it back in. But So that's pretty much the end of what we have dealing with, and then until the sample's made, then the samples will come up to us and we'll review those, make sure the finishes are correct, make sure the spelling's correct, make sure.
Correct.
Well, there was an Italian coin about 5 years ago with Jesus, was misspelt Jesus.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah.
There's an error coin for you.
Yeah. So we're looking at those sorts of things.
How often do you get the coin and go, that's not what I thought?
Well, design-wise, not so much, but finishes-wise, we go, you know what, that's getting lost on the Kangaroo is getting lost in the background.
So what do you do about that?
We work on changing finishes. We might say, look, bring more height into this and drop that back a bit further and stuff like that.
Because that's pretty late in the day. I mean, you've already produced some samples by this point.
Yeah, well, that's exactly right. And that's where we go, is it going to, are we willing to make these changes, or are we happy with it to go as it is because the deadlines are too close?
Did they ever get scrapped at that point?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Like back to the drawing board scrapped?
Yeah, a couple of times.
Oh, wow. I can imagine that conversation.
Well, very rarely, but yeah, to be honest, it happens, you know.
Would any of the rejected designs or things that didn't quite make the cut ever see the light of day?
No.
Never?
No.
You'll never go back and...
No.
Like, I mean, because you said before, you know, like you might produce 20 designs for the Kookaburra.
Oh, okay. So they're illustrations, concept illustrations, really raw illustrations. We might go back to those.
Yep.
But like a plaster design or a die, once that's done, that's it.
Yeah.
That's as far as it'll go.
Yeah. I'd love to go through your archives.
Oh, yeah. It'd be great. I'd love to go through it. It's
a fascinating history.
Yeah.
Do the archives go right back, you know, 100 plus years?
Yeah, I think they do, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It'd be really interesting.
It would.
Yeah. To go back in my time, but then to go back before my time and see some of the stuff from way back when.
Yeah.
Stuff like that, yeah.
Oh, that'd be
sovereigns
amazing.
and stuff like that.
Yeah, well, I was actually just thinking, you know, the sovereigns particularly, you know, because they did the shield and all that. Like, that'd be just amazing to go back and...
Yeah, because that's where we started. That's Perth Mint started making sovereigns. That was, So.
Yes, we did the tour on Wednesday. Oh, Rubes didn't do it on Wednesday. We did the tour on Wednesday. I've done the tour before, but every time it cracks me up. And then downstairs you've got the examples room. I don't know what it's actually called. Yeah. And it's got, you know, many of the different types of sovereigns up there, and some of them are incredibly rare sovereigns.
Yeah.
So it's if you ever, I can't overemphasise this, if you're ever in Perth and you have even if you're not interested in gold and coins and that, it's an amazing tour and it's an amazing place to come to. And it's smack bang, which always cracks me up, it's smack bang in the middle of Perth.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I'm not from Perth, so somebody's going to go, it's not, it's East Perth. Yeah, it is. But it's near enough to smack bang in the middle of the CBD.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, it's amazing from that perspective.
It's a fantastic spot to work. River's, 200 metres down that way? And
a great Italian restaurant about 200 metres up the road here, Roberto's on something or other. Oh, if you're ever in Perth, you've got to go there. I went there the other night and it was just
good stuff.
Amazing. And one of our team, it's a stupid thing, but we're walking up there and got caught in the rain. And so he rolls in there and says to the maitre d', "Don't happen to have a dry shirt?" He goes, "Yeah, sure." Opens the cupboard, pulls out almost a Hawaiian shirt.
Oh, awesome.
It's like, man, I don't think I've ever gone into a restaurant and asked for a shirt before.
Okay, no, not at all.
Does Perth Mint still do the gold pour?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Is it on the half hour or on the hour? On the hour.
So, good stuff.
Yep.
Are we missing any major questions, mate?
I don't think so.
What was the result of your poll?
A poll. I was asking if people would buy a silver kangaroo in a kilo size. There's lots of we've seen a few people ask if you guys would ever do the kangaroo larger, and we had 63% of people say they'd be very interested in a larger kilo size.
I think we've been talking about it,
or even to bring the gold designs of the kangaroo over to the silver for the larger planchette.
Oh, okay. Yep. All right. So 24 kangaroo. That's my design. So not the CQ. Well, that's what you call it too. Commercial quality, the silver bullion kangaroo. Yep. So that I worked on it, but obviously it's Devlin design, not mine. Where the 24 bullion kangaroo translates across to the high relief silver coloured and the 2 ounce reverse gilded and stuff. To do it at a larger size wouldn't be an issue, I don't think. It'd work. It'd be whether the market wants it, whether we can fit it in the schedule.
63% of our market would certainly show interest in it.
Yeah, gladly.
So you can take that back to your commercial team and say...
I'll say, hey, it's on, guys. Come on, let's go.
We want exclusive to it, though. No.
All right.
Good fun. I've lost where I was going with that. You got anything more for me, Rube?
There's questions with, would Perth Mint do single source of metal like the Royal Canadian Mint? I think, they
do that with the super pit.
The super pit advertises itself as having at least the gold, I think, on as being sourced from the super pit itself, which is a cool concept. Yeah,
that's outside my control. I know we aim to get as much of the gold and stuff. It comes from Australia. I'm not sure about silver and platinum, but
I seem to be saying this quite a lot these last couple of days I've been at Perth, but what you guys are doing with the gilding is just... I can't think of another mint around the world. I mean, other mints do gilding, but they certainly haven't experimented and explored the different gilding techniques. You guys have, like the 125th that's just been... I don't know how much I can talk about this because I don't think the gilded gets released till Tuesday, but what you've done with that, is just great in the way that you've highlighted certain parts of the coin with the gilding and actually drawn it out. And then,
well, that's...
I wish I hadn't gone down here because I can't talk about this coin. But even going back into previous designs you've done, where you've reverse gilded and you've done the rim and you've brought out certain things and you've gone rose gold, not just gold, and all these types of things. You're really starting to play around with some of these concepts. What's driving that? Is that a commercial driven thing? Is that a design team driven thing?
It depends on the project. So the production team will project management team will discuss that, and I'm involved with those sorts of processes on this this design looks good. How can we work it? What variations can we make on this design? And what will and won't push it forward? What will enhance it? We try not to just gild for the sake of gilding or colour for the sake of colour. Or it's part of the design. It's always and especially if we get told we want to do koala. I'm just picking an animal. Koala, and we want to have it rose gold, but we want it high relief, and we want it this. We'll design it to work that way. We'll try and get it. So this coin works really well with the gilding.
It absolutely does.
Yeah, it's what parts we can gild, what parts we can't, and that's a to and fro between production and the design team and stuff.
But I kind of feel like the old, and please don't take offence to whoever designed these. The old, I'll say, Lunar Series 2, where you gilded. It was almost what you said before. It was gilding to say we've got a gilded Lunar.
Yeah.
Whereas, particularly since probably about the start of Series 3, like kind of coming into COVID, that kind of period of time, you actually took it away from that.
Yeah.
You know, it's just we've got to produce a gilded one, and you actually started designing for the guild.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And it was
Ing being the designer for that and designing the suite right from the start for that. Yeah, designed it. If we're going to gild it, let's do this to it.
There's a really good question from Goat here. It says, Perth Mint has a long history of making coins that include other materials like opal or pearl.
Yep.
Is there any material you would like to try to use that hasn't been glass or wood, for example?
We've looked into these sorts of things. Glass.
Well, you did glass with the. I was actually talking to Lucas about it the other day. You did a kind of glass embedded in that Anzac stained glass windows one, didn't you?
Yeah. And we've looked at wood. I don't think we've gone ahead with that. We're still looking at designs that could work well with wood. Look, we've done multiple different sorts of stone and stuff like that as well. Going ahead, we'll see if we can get it to work. Again, we don't want to throw something on it just because we want to put it on there. We want to work on a design that will enhance it and tell us more of a story and stuff like that.
Is there one design, one metal, one material, one thing that you always wanted to do and just haven't quite done it yet?
No. Look, I love working in designs, and I love taking the challenge as new designs or new themes or new briefs come ahead. And all right, how am I going to make this design the best that I can do it? So, and that goes with all of the team. We're always pushing our designs and pushing each other into different ways of doing things and stuff. Yeah.
Well, it's been fascinating having you in, mate.
Thank you very much. I've enjoyed it. Loved it.
It's great to get this insight both into Perth Mint, but particularly into the design team and ethos and thoughts and how these things come about, because it's not something that we easily tap into.
Yeah, that's good.
You know, we get these fantastic coins come through, and we critique them. I won't say we criticise them. We critique them.
We get enough of that from downstairs. It's all good.
But to actually, talk to the people that are designing it and getting into their minds a little bit. I mean, we're only scratching the surface, but to get into their mind has been a real privilege, and I thank you for sharing that. It's been amazing.
Yeah, it's been great. Good stuff.
So stay tuned. We are not disappearing anywhere, but we're thanking Wade for stepping in. But I believe we've got another member of the Perth Mint team in the wings. Is he stepping in, or is he just here to make sure I stay on the rails? You're stepping in. Excellent. So Ruben might jump across and hand him a microphone.
Thank you.
Thanks, mate. If you could just take that one off and hand it across. We'll do the official handover.
Just like that?
It just clips it on. No, it's not finished yet. Don't disappear yet. We get to the second exciting part. So this is where we get all the good goss. Because the gentleman that's about to join us, the gentleman that's about to join us is one of the senior management of the Perth Mint. So all those really tricky questions that you've always wanted to ask, jump on in, mate. This gentleman, your pack's not turned on, mate, so there'll be a button just looks like that on the other side where your left thumb is. Now that's the one. No, you're going to have to hold it for about 3 seconds. The blue light will come on here. There we go. So you're going to have to snuggle up a little bit closer to fit on the camera, mate. So you're right there. So, don't have to be nervous, mate. Relax. You're starting to look a little tense. Would you like to introduce yourself, or would you like me to do it?
Neil Vance, General Manager of Minted Products here at the Perth Mint.
Okay, so what does that mean?
So basically I'm looking after the sales and also the product development for all the coins and minted bars that come out of the Perth Mint.
Okay, so we've just spent an hour talking with Wade. Where do you fit in with Wade? You give him the briefs, if you like, or we're looking at doing this, or he feeds that back to you, or it's a combination of all these things?
No, it's certainly a combination. We have a product development committee, of which Wade and I are both a part of, along with other project managers. And basically what we have is a brainstorming meeting where we decide what sort of projects we could work on in the future. And from that we then designate certain project managers with one of the projects. They will then work with one of the designers on bringing that project to fruition. And we're trying to get to the point where we're working on these things further out. Like right now we're working on a couple of things in 2027.
Oh,
so
wow.
we're really trying to get further ahead on these things. But it's a good process in terms of how the committee actually works on what will be a good product for the Perth Mint, how it will fit in, how the design will work, what tweaks we can make to that design. So for example, after an initial brief, the designer will go away and work on it. And they'll do some rough design work, and we'll pick a design that we think will work best. And from there they'll finish that design, and then we'll probably make some tweaks in terms of actually what could work better, what may not work when it goes to coining. So there's quite a bit of process that goes into it. Obviously packaging is also part of the process as well.
So I'm not trying to put words in your mouth here, you're more the commercial side of it rather than the artistic side that kind of Wade's bringing across. Would that be accurate?
I like to think I'm creative, Michael, but certainly definitely more on the commercial side. I think what's interesting about this industry more than other industries is there are certain people that come in, and I notice it in our product development team, that really get the idea of coins and what appeals to the collectors. And that's a different creativity in terms of getting that point. Now, that team of people is never going to be the one that then goes to design or anything like that. Yeah. But I think the two creativity sides work really closely together, and they're actually really important.
Yeah. How on earth did you get into this?
Well, I'd actually been in the food industry for about 12 years with a couple of large multinational food companies.
I'm not seeing the link yet, but keep
going.
there's
absolutely no link at all. Apart from, I guess, I was in commercial sales area.
Yep.
And looking for a change, and saw an ad for what I could only assume was the Perth Mint based on the information on that ad. And basically got the job, and 21 years later I'm still here and loving it.
Yeah. So you weren't a coin collector, stacker, anything along those sort of lines prior to joining the Perth Mint?
I wasn't, no.
Are you now?
I have a small stack and a few collectible coins I've collected along the way.
Okay, so what coins? I'm assuming these ones that they've grabbed you for some reason, whether it be an emotional reason or a design reason.
Yeah, look, it's quite funny in that I probably bought a few coins more when I started and realised if I keep this up, I'll have a massive collection. So I probably eased off after the first couple of years. But probably the ones that really stick in mind is I bought back in 2003 the Golden Pipeline. And the reason I bought that was it was the first coin I was involved in selling.
Yep.
Now, I certainly wasn't part of the team that came up with the idea, but I was actually selling the product and I loved it, so I bought that. The second one was the first one that I was involved in project managing from the start, and that was the Australian Antarctic Territory Mawson Station.
Yeah, yes.
So, that was one of those moments where you go, oh, I've actually got a project over the line, which is always a really interesting thing at the Perth Mint when you see people get to that point and they get what can be commercialised, creatively, all those sorts of things, and get their project over the line. So for me, that was 2004, and that was a big point as well.
Must be a huge amount of pride in that.
Yeah, there is. So look, at the end of the day, I mean, the designers are different again because they get their initials on the coin, so I think they have huge pride in that. But look, I think just in general, as a team at the Perth Mint, we've got a lot of pride in what we do.
Yeah, but to see a coin you can literally walk out of your office. I don't know where your office is. You can literally walk out of your office, stand in the foyer here and watch people buy a coin that you've been instrumental in creating. I know you're not physically drawing the picture, but you've driven that project.
Yeah, look.
And that must give you goosebumps almost.
Yeah, it does. Look, I think probably the most recent example of that is when we released the 125 anniversary coins, and we got in the morning, and there was a line outside, so there was quite a bit of excitement. Same thing for the first print King Charles effigy. When we changed the effigy, so we had the Kangaroo coin with the first King Charles effigy, and great big line outside. So you already get that excitement that that's what the collectors want. They're excited for a product, and it's great.
Yeah.
There's a couple of really good questions I think coming through. One from Jason to say, how do you decide if it will be an Australian coin or, for instance, a Cook Islands coin? Like, how do you decide where the coin is actually going to be from, legal tender-wise?
Yeah, that's a good question. So we have guidelines around what can be an Australian legal tender, and we follow those guidelines. So generally, it needs to be an Australian theme. Probably where that changes a bit is that we have so much lunar or Asian-based themes, which we've been very successful in. And that goes back to 1996 when we started the lunar series. And for us, it's a large export market for us, but also there's such a large ethnically Chinese community within Australia. So actually those themes are important to Chinese Australians or Australians Chinese, depending on how they identify. So that's where I guess it pushes out to other sorts of themes that are maybe not technically Australian, but actually work on the Australian legal tender. If it comes to a licensed product, for example, James Bond, there's no link to Australia. So that clearly goes on a Tuvalu legal tender.
Would Perth Mint consider selling presentation display cases for more of your series? So you've done some in the past with the Lunar presentation, kind of the 12 coin set or whatever for the full series. Would you ever considering selling some for the Kookaburra or the Kangaroos, or just something to highlight the sets?
Yeah, look, that's another good question. I guess with the Lunar series, you've got a defined 12-year period, and you can see there's 12 holes in a box. With the Kookaburra, that's not so defined. With that sort of thing, a lot of our distributors over the years have kind of developed their own box, and we've kind of let them go with that. And I think that works pretty well. But certainly any time there is a defined number, we would try to come up with a box.
We've probably been through the largest increase in spot price for decades in a short period of time. How has that impacted Perth Mint at all, from demand or supply issues or anything along those sort of lines?
Yeah, look, it's been a really interesting price run up. It's probably been like one that I haven't experienced in terms of the effect this time around. So previously, when the prices run up, we've had a lot of retail demand. This time around, what's happened at the Perth Mint, obviously part of our business with the refinery is selling large gold bars. That part of the business has been incredibly busy during this price run up. Huge institutional demand. With the retail demand, interestingly in Australia, it's been there, but overseas it hasn't. So there's been a lot of profit taking overseas, and we haven't seen the demand as strong as we would normally have seen it in the past, with the price running up the way it has.
Okay. Why? Do you have an opinion on why that may be? Why the overseas hasn't reacted like the Australian market has?
No, I really don't have. I don't have an educated opinion on why it's happened. I mean, a bit of the theory is that a lot of people are sitting on metal for a long time, and they've decided to take profit. And I guess one of the stories I've heard that I'll share is particularly in Germany, where in Germany they had negative interest rates. So you imagine you don't put your money in a bank during that period because you actually lose money. So what did the Germans do? A lot of them actually put their money into precious metals. And this negative interest rates lasted for probably 5-6 odd years. The Germans are finally getting a positive interest rate, so they feel they can put their money into the bank. And they bought that metal so long ago, with the price run up, they've actually made a really good profit and then can comfortably put that in the bank and now make money. So that's some of the stories that our German distributors have shared with us.
Yeah, okay. I hadn't thought of that actually, because we did, and I don't know if we talked about it in Germany or when we were in Berlin. No, it was actually with Michael from AMARC, where we got quite involved in a discussion about the tax law change they had over there.
Yeah.
Because that's had a fairly large impact on demand, hasn't it?
Well, it has. So that new tax in Germany came into effect in January 2023, and we have seen a real softening in demand on silver there. But that is because of the size of the tax. So for investors, it's very off-putting. So that's another reason we're seeing silver demand at an okay level in the USA, but we're seeing very little silver demand in Germany right now. And of course, it used to be our largest market.
Yeah, yes, it certainly did from what I've heard. All right, the Kangaroo silver coin. We asked Wade before, is there any chance you're ever going to change the design on it?
We're very happy with the design on the silver Kangaroo. It's been very well accepted all around the world.
Yeah.
And it's that iconic Kangaroo. It just works really well on the coin. So at this point, no.
Would you ever do it in the larger size? That's the other thing we're talking about, a 1 kilo Kangaroo.
Look, we have thought about that. I don't know if we'd go to kilo, but certainly, a 10-ounce size would be something we may be interested in the future.
But a lot of our viewers really like the 10-ounce size across a lot of your different...
Yeah, it's look, and it's a real key size in the American market as well. So that would work. But look, what we found during the 3-year boom we had there with the pandemic is that we were so flat out making 1-ounce coins. Actually, to make the larger size coins was actually very difficult. So we know we weren't ready for that then, but it's something we may look at now.
Yeah, I know this decision was made many years ago, but I was always disappointed at the end of Series 2 in the Luna where you dropped the 10-ounce, because I always find that's, to me and to a lot of customers that we've talked to, and it's why I'm glad you've kept the Kookaburra in the 10-ounce. It's that size where you get the better impact or the bigger impact of the design, because it allows the detail to come out without going into a full kilo, which is obviously, nowadays it's $1,400 to buy a kilo coin.
Yeah.
In fact, I think it might be almost $1,500 to buy a kilo coin, where that 10-ounce is kind of that, it's about a third of the amount, and you still get that impact of the larger planchet. So.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. And look, the 10 ounce is a great size. I guess one of the issues for us again is it's being able to manufacture it at a reasonable cost. And of course, if you think of the quality we put into our 10 ounce Kookaburra coin, I mean, they're flawless and they're not easy to make. So therefore, it's not easy to make in a large number.
Yeah, so we haven't talked about this, and Ruben's only just shot the video of it, but one of the privileges we had while we've been at Perth Mint is Neil and a few people led us through a bit of a tour of the coin making or coin production areas. And one of the things that absolutely amazed me was the number of, like you mentioned, the high quality, the number of coins that are rejected to maintain that quality. It's a huge amount. And one of the things, and you'll see this on the video when we release it, they've got a tray of rejects of about 30 coins, and I could find fault with 2 out of those 30. Like, the detail that you are rejecting is to give you that ability to maintain that incredible quality that you do maintain. The detail that you're rejecting, I find astounding from a commercial perspective.
Yeah, look, I guess we have a tolerance that we accept as a reject rate, and we are within that tolerance. And our quality is incredibly important to us. So therefore, that is one of the things we are prepared to do to maintain that quality. I mean, I think when you talk to a lot of collectors around the world, you know, what sets the Perth Mint apart, we hear quality a lot.
Absolutely.
So therefore, it's a real key performance indicator for us.
Yeah, because I can tell you as a retailer, and we deal with a lot of the mints from around the world, and a lot of the coins. There are some mints that are challenging with the quality of product that they produce, and Perth Mint is not one of them. It's pretty rare that we ever have an issue with a Perth Mint coin, and if we do, it's usually on an individual basis. Yep. It's not on a, this is a lousy series or a lousy year or anything like that, whereas I'm stepping very carefully here, but there are some mints that, or some production facilities where we steer clear of. So it's very pleasing from a retailer's perspective that you take that level of care with it, and very much appreciated. Yeah,
and look, we also have our bullion priced differently, as I'm sure your customers are aware. You know that you do pay more for a Kookaburra with its finish and its limited mintage as opposed to a silver Kangaroo.
Yes, absolutely, but I wouldn't say it's... This is an odd discussion to have where I'm arguing your pricing is more than fair. It should be the other way around. I should be squeezing you for better deals, but I actually don't think you're overpricing. In fact, I've been on camera saying I think your Kangaroos are too cheap, and I know that I've just upset several thousand people, but I find that the quality you're producing for the price you're producing, when I compare it to the rest of the stuff around the world, there's very little, there's very few that can keep up with you. So it's very good to see.
Has Perth Mint ever sold a book featuring concept art, and if not, would you ever consider it?
Let us into your archives.
That's an interesting one. Haven't thought about that. It would be interesting. We do go back into our archives every so often, and probably the modern archives really from 86 onwards, and there is some fascinating stuff in there. We have a lot of Stuart Devlin designs from that period that have still never seen the light of day. It's a really interesting concept. We might have a chat about that one with the team.
How far back do your archives actually go, do you know? Like, do they go back 125 years?
Look, we have lots of archival information at the Mint. Design-wise, what I'm familiar with is the 86 onwards.
Yeah, okay. Because I'd fully support that one. I think that's a brilliant idea. Yeah,
I mean, probably the best archival piece in the whole Perth Mint, in my opinion, is actually on display in our exhibition.
The Sovereign.
And that's the first ever Sovereign made here at the Perth Mint. And we have, the provenance behind that as well. So that's an incredibly rare piece that we actually had someone try to value once, and they just felt it was priceless. So we're really pleased to have that here, that everyone can come and see it. That was basically just discovered here accidentally, wasn't it, almost? Is that right? I don't know the story behind that. Okay, all right, I'll duck. Fair enough, I'm getting the look.
Are you able to talk about if the 100-ounce silver bars will ever be reproduced?
I am, yes. So look, right now we're putting an enormous amount of new equipment into the refinery. It's going to make us a lot more efficient and a lot more capable of delivering more product with a better finish. So we believe, and don't hold me to it, but we believe in the final quarter of this year, we should probably start seeing some of our core range return to our cast bars. And that would ideally be the 10 ounce silver, the 100 ounce silver, on the gold, the 5 ounce and the 10 ounce size, which have come and gone a little bit, but not been there constantly.
The half ounce?
The half ounce is always an interesting one. It's a really great price point at the moment, and it's something we do want to bring back. But it will be later in the year when the new equipment is in and commissioned.
I'm bouncing all over the shop here. Can you explain the logic behind a 2.5 ounce bar?
I would say it's an interesting one because it works in some markets and it doesn't work in other markets. And I'd say it would have been done for a price point more than anything.
Yeah, okay. I love it because it's quirky.
I know, yeah. I mean, logic to me says you go a 100 gram, we have a 2.5 ounce.
Yeah.
And it is unusual in terms of the industry in general.
And it's really popular. Like, I'm not trying to criticise it, but it's an odd size.
It is.
It doesn't kind of fit in anything. Do we need to start wrapping up? You're giving me the wind up?
It's up to you if there's anything else you wanted to finish off with.
Here's one question. I've meant to ask you this once before. Will you ever go to 5/9 gold?
Look, I'd never say never, but there's no plans to do it at this point. You know, we've had the odd discussion about it, but really 4/9 is the standard. We're happy with that, and we'll probably stick with that for the present time.
I can't see a commercial argument for it because it's not just a little bit harder to get 5/9 gold. It's
correct.
It's leaps and bounds harder. So
yeah.
I've often wondered that question though. Thank you very, very much for joining us, mate. You sidestepped the landmines very, very well.
I knew they'd come from you.
Before we leave, what do you do when you're not at the Perth Mint? How do you relax?
Well, I've got 2 dogs at home, so I love walking my dogs and play a bit of golf and do a bit of bike riding.
And you like AFL?
I am an Essendon fan, so I can say that because we're having a better year.
Yeah, well, I'm a Hawthorn fan and I can't say that because we're right down the bottom these days.
Yeah.
But Essendon and Hawthorn have had a healthy rivalry for many a year.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, good to see. That's it for another week. A little bit different this week. We're out at Perth Mint, obviously, and we're incredibly grateful and thankful for the Perth Mint allowing us to film here, looking after us, giving us the guided tour into some of the back rooms. It's been amazing, and you guys will benefit from that as well. We'll release some videos coming up in the next few weeks. So a huge thank you to Perth Mint, a huge thank you to, there's too many people that I've got to thank. And I started writing a list before we came on live stream and I gave up because I know I was going to offend people by leaving them out, but the whole team over here have been amazing. If you are in town in Perth Mint, if you're visiting, if you're swinging by, if you live here, get yourself over to the Perth Mint. It's an amazing tour, it's an amazing place, and it's steeped in some amazing, important Australian history. You know, we were built on the land, on the sheep's back, and also on gold. It's very much part of our modern culture and history. So get here, have a look at it, take it in firsthand. We will be back next week. We will be back in Melbourne. Matt will be there. Ruben will be there, I'm hoping. And I'll be there as well. And yeah, thanks again for tuning in for an hour and a half. We will see you again very, very soon.